You want to do it? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Becoming the Killer podcast. We have your host,
Nikhil Pandey.
And Thomas Slipsager. Mammoth, I don't know.
What do we just... we should use our Avengers names.
Yes.
It's me, Captain Sinbad.
And the Mammoth. Wow.
Whoa!
Jesus.
Jesus is my Lord.
Well, good.
So, dude, I get worried about these titles. Because I don't want to... I mean, I'm kind of a people pleaser. I don't want to offend people. It seems like we're going to be offending more and more people with these.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it,
What are you
though?
going to do? You don't like it, go fuck yourself.
This is what's going to get the views. We have one job.
So we're titling this How to Take Revenge on a Woman Who's Rejected You.
Yeah.
But you know what it really is about? It's about becoming all you can be. Mm-hmm. It's about adopting a life philosophy as a man. I mean, just because I'm talking from the perspective of a man. And rejection is one of the most motivating, powerful, true rejection, where you're actually in love or something.
Yeah.
Or deeply in and you get rejected. Man, that is actually secretly such a blessing.
Yes.
And until I went through heartbreak myself, you don't realize actually it's a deeply traumatic event. It takes long as fuck to recover from heartbreak.
Yeah, I've never had a serious relationship.
Yeah.
So I've never had a serious breakup. So I don't think I've even gone through a real hardcore heartbreak. But even the light ones for me, I just know it must just be an amplified version of that because it just stings like a bitch.
You know, the sting of getting ghosted by a girl
hurts.
Just times it by 100, and that's heartbreak. It's just amplified. Thomas doesn't go through heartbreak, because he's just...
I've murdered all my emotions. Yeah. We're not doing comedic bits. That's just the facts.
This is true.
Yeah.
We're actually both incredibly damaged men.
Yeah, welcome to the Damaged and Hurt Men Crying podcast.
Becoming the Damaged Man podcast.
What it do, what it does, where you been, where you was, what it ain't, what it is. Face in the mud, I really be hating in the mud. Said I can't pick it up, but I did. Y'all know Goon put too much bass in the sub. Cup full of blood and I gave it a chug. Wait till your neighbors get all snug, then play this real loud where you live.
No, but really what it does is heartbreak or rejection, it helps you cement a life philosophy. And I would read about life philosophy. Was that last thing? Was that when the intro kicks in? Because I feel like that. Welcome back to the Damage Man.
Yeah, I think we could do it right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
This video is sponsored by Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers, one of my favorite brands to partner with. One of my favorite products. Magnesium is a mineral that a large part of the population is deficient in. It's essential for healthy testosterone production. It helps you fall asleep. It makes you feel calm. It reduces anxiety. And Magnesium Breakthrough, it's got 7 different kind of versions of magnesium inside it. So it's helpful for maximum absorption. It's really hard to get your daily supply of magnesium just through diet alone. Obviously, it's ideal, but you have to eat things like pumpkin seeds.
Not things you would normally consume. So taking it as a supplement, it just puts you in a place where it's out of your head so you can just focus on the things you want to focus on.
Yeah, and if you take your performance and health seriously, one thing you definitely want to dial in is your sleep. Mm-hmm. There's almost a level of discipline when it comes to sleep. You're disciplined enough to sleep 8 or 9 hours. And that's a discipline that I sometimes lack. There was a time maybe where people thought, oh, I'm rise and grind. I only slept 6 hours and that was a badge of honor. You know what the real badge of honor should be is the fact that you prioritize your sleep, because your performance goes up so much when you're optimized for sleep. And the right supplement, maybe it's just a 10% increase in your performance, but I want those gains. If I can just have some magnesium and sleep better, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Which is why I love this product. In fact, a lot of Bioptimizers products, I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of the company. They mentor some people you and I both admire.
Yes.
Extremely creator friendly, and it's a great product. So if you use the link in my description box and use the code SINBAD10 at checkout, that's magnesiumbreakthrough.com/Captain Sinbad, and the code SINBAD10 at checkout, you will get 10% off of your order of Magnesium Breakthrough. I couldn't recommend them enough. A big thank you to Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers for sponsoring this video and sponsoring this channel so well over the course of a year now.
Yeah, I mean, the fear we have about the podcast is that people won't sponsor it because it's too unfiltered. We say too many crazy things.
Yeah.
But Bioptimizers has never cared. They let us say whatever we want, and they still pay us, which is very important.
With the understanding that this is still a positive podcast. Like, you know, maybe
we say little raunchy things, and we say we want to get revenge on women, but it's in jest, and we just want people to improve themselves.
We want to build a tribe where people are really determined and maybe tapped into their shadow side enough to make true progress and to reach their potential as creatives, as entrepreneurs, as people. And that's what it's really about. It's not about negativity. It's about maybe using your shadow to be the best you can be, becoming the killer.
Becoming the killer. And if you guys see silly little titles, we're just playing the YouTube game. That's it. That's it.
Okay, so anyway, the point I was trying to get at is having a life philosophy is really important. But oftentimes, if you don't have a period of struggle, there's really no reason to come up with a philosophy for life, because you're just like, whatever, things are going on, things are going well. You're kind of occupied and you're entertained and you're not bored when things are going all right.
You just don't need one.
You don't need one.
Yeah.
And then when things go really bad for a while, you have this thing where you're like, I need something that is just true, regardless of when the times are good or bad. And what's amazing about it is that the next time times are really good, theoretically that philosophy should still be there in like writing, ideally. And you can be like, listen, times are good right now. It's like what Marcus Aurelius would have to do in his journal to himself all the time. It's like, times are good, but just remember, this is the only true thing there is. And I've had to continuously relearn that lesson. But there was a time where I just quit my job as a teacher, and it was the summer of 2017, I believe. I had 2 months of pay left because, you know, as a teacher, you get paid through the summer. So they were going to pay us through August 1st.
Yeah.
I just switched apartments, but it was like I was unemployed. So even though I had like 2 months salary left, I was like unemployed living in LA. It was really embarrassing at the time because I would be driving across the city from Echo Park where I lived to like Santa Monica during peak traffic, so it would take like 90 minutes sometimes, to go audition for a student film that some 19-year-old French kid was directing. And I would go into this audition for no pay, but I would need it to build up a demo reel. And that's what I would be spending my time doing. And then I would not get the job. Like this 19-year-old rich kid is turning me down because he has the money to make a short film.
Yep.
And then I would drive back another hour to get back to my place. And I remember I did one of those one times. And then I opened up my laptop and I just said, like, I need something to believe in. Like, I need something to do regardless of where I'm at. And I wrote 3 pages to myself and I said, like, this is what's true. You have to start your day like this. You have to end your day like this. I hadn't discovered anything like NoFap at the time, but I wish I had, because it would have, I think I was just on the cusp of discovering it actually, but I wish I had, because I was like, that's an objective truth. You know, all these things, I realized those were the ideal me. And I had to like try to live up to my ideal, because that was the only way I could still respect myself in the face of all that embarrassment. You know, it was just deeply embarrassing to be driving around town, just not getting anything done. Sometimes people would even prank call me, like, because my actor's information was on backstage.com or Actors Access, so anyone could find your info. So I would remember I would get prank calls from like young guys, and they would be like, yeah, we have a role for you, and then I could hear them snickering in the background.
Damn.
And I was like, this is my life, man.
That's,
and I'd
like,
be like,
out of a movie.
yeah,
That's
I'd be
fucked
like,
up.
even more so, like, my roommate at the time had like his aunt and uncle were incredibly wealthy. Like, their house looked like the Bruce Wayne Manor. It was just so big. The head of the household was just like this amazing Los Angeles lawyer.
Yeah.
And I would go to those parties and they'd be like, oh, so what do you do? You know, everyone always asks, what do you do? And I just didn't know what to say. I was like, I'm an actor, I guess. I had nothing going on. I have 2 months pay left at this school.
Yeah, I had a solid like 2-3 years of that after I dropped out of college. It's like, what do you do? It's like, I drive for Lyft, because you don't want to say like you're an actor, or in my case, like I'm a YouTuber. If you're not actually succeeding at it, it feels like a lie coming out of your mouth, because then the next question is, if you say you're an actor, I'm like, oh, what have you been in? You know, what are you acting in right now? And it's like, then you're like, oh, Jesus, no, don't ask me that, because it's nothing right now, you know? So yeah, I just remember feeling a profound sense of embarrassment as well.
It was the best thing for me at the time. even though really what it was 6 months of like, I didn't know how to respect myself because I was like, what? I was 25 by that time. In some ways, I felt like 25 is too old to be starting over. I know a lot of people are 30 or 40 and they're starting over, so that's objectively just not true. But when you're in it, especially because a lot of actors in LA, they start getting, if you're going to actually go for it, you start when you're like 17. Especially if I was going in for like a meeting with a casting director or something. If you're just getting your career going at 25, that's kind of a red flag for a lot of people because you're going to spend 5 years, if you're lucky, just booking bit parts.
Yeah.
So by the time you even get started, you'd be 30. And that's why a lot of late bloomers in the movie industry, it's like their careers don't take off until their late 40s. Chadwick Boseman was an amazing example of this, where he really his career didn't start taking off until he was like 33.
Yeah.
And it's like you got to put in 10 years of
just taking the shitty roles.
It's just like a whole year goes by and the only thing you book is like one guy who hands the person a pen or something like that, you know? And I formed a life philosophy then. It wasn't there forever, but I like started that document off by saying, this isn't Nikhil talking. This is a message from the infinite intelligence telling you what to do to get through this. I just said that to obviously it wasn't true.
No, it sounds like some automatic writing shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. It was just something I had to believe in something.
Yeah.
And one of the things, now I still have that document. Surprisingly, it has changed very little. The only thing that's changed is how viscerally I remember what I believe in. And, I did it this morning as Thomas was walking into my place. He heard me going through my affirmations again. And I've been really on top of it, of like remembering my life philosophy these days. And, in my early career, it was that. Later on, what's been a huge point of like re-remembering what it's about was rejection, Do you have any experience where you had to like decide who you're going to be? And if so, how did you arrive at like the things that are like your pillars of truth for you,
Yeah. I went through just very hard trials and tribulations related to my physical health when I was like 22, 23. And I, at a point, was like almost hopeless in my desire, like in terms of me getting better. I was like 135 pounds and I couldn't gain any weight. For reference, I'm like 185 pounds right now. So I'm 50 pounds less than I was, and I couldn't exercise. I couldn't eat anything and digest it. And admittedly, the worst symptom was just like, I was like very severely constipated. And so no one could help me. No doctors could figure out what was going on. And I just felt like I was never going to get better. So I had to like resolve and answer the question, like, if you truly never get better, like, do you even still want to like continue trying to live and succeed and do what you want? And that was a question I had to be very honest with myself. I remember writing that down in my journal. Like, if this state of existence continued, would you live? And I just remember immediately writing no. And then like 3 days went by and I felt this like overwhelming sense of anxiety. And then I was like, the answer is yes. Like, I figured it out. And, that was when I was like, all right, if you can answer yes at this state, that I never like completely lost hope. I was like despairing, but I knew like there's a chance I could get better, right? I could figure it out somehow. And so as long as there was that like inkling of hope, I would continue. And I knew that if I said yes to life at such a shitty state, I would be able to sit, like, everything else would be easier if I got through this. And so it was just like, get through this day. Like, whatever pain you're in, whatever physical trials, there's no pride in being like that, feeling like your body is just like rotting and disgusting. And you have to do all these things that are like very embarrassing, get procedures that are embarrassing, speak to doctors in ways that like truly you feel like ashamed to expose yourself, and you feel too young to like be losing in a way. And to accept all of that, like, to have pride in myself and know that I can keep trying at this like very shameful base level, where I feel so like there's no pride in my life right now. I have nothing to show for anything. To be able to know who I was at that moment, like, I can do this. I can wake up every day. I can get X amount done. I can still pursue my dreams. I can still act in a way that is in accordance with who I want to be. To say yes at that level, that's what has carried me through now. It's like whenever there's hard times now, I'm just like, I said yes a long time ago. Like, I know what it is. And even if it gets that hard again, it's like, I know I have that.
What were some of the things you did in terms of keeping your mindset right in those times? And then what started to ease the suffering? When did you start feeling like the tide was shifting?
Some of the things I committed to, like just walking a little bit every day. My body was so like physically screwed up that even walking daily would like make my legs really, really sore. But I just started out and it would be like a 10-minute walk. And then I would just go for 10-minute walks. And I remember just sitting down like halfway through a walk and being like exhausted and being like in my head, you're going to be running one day and you're going to want to stop. But remember right now, because you're not going to stop. And it's kind of like that David Goggins cookie jar thing. Like whatever I've just been through worse. And so like me not being able to walk all the way, it's like nothing can screw with my motor. So it was like go for a walk every day, slowly lengthen that amount of time. 10 became 20 minutes, 20 minutes became 30 minutes became an hour became an hour and a half became 2 hours of walking a day. And then I moved to Minnesota. I would walk for 2 hours every day. That was like non-negotiable. Sleep 8 hours a day was non-negotiable. It was just this commitment to certain things that I had not prioritized in the past with regards to my physical health. And yeah, I started to see the tide shift slowly with the amount I could just do physically. And then I'd remember just like having regular bowel movements, and I'd be like, damn, if this is like something that this is literally all I need to be happy right now, is just this. It's like if my body works, like I can figure out the rest with regards to my mental health, you know? So yeah, I would wake up every day and that would be the thing. And I think I also I have a similarly vengeful spirit to you, to where I felt it was very unfair, the cards I was dealt. So I would think to myself, all right, I was signed up for a half marathon before my health fell apart and I couldn't run it because of that. So I was like, all right, you should run a half marathon. Like that's your shining light. And if you remember when I met you, I would talk about it a lot. And then I did it. And then I did it again. And it was never like, that's not even okay. It's like, now I have to run 5. Like everything you took from me, I'll take it back way more, way harder. And I will rub it in your face. And I know this thing is like a non-entity, but it exists to me. This idea, this enemy, this thing that took away what I feel like was 2 years of my life, I will steal it all back. And I will get more. And I will get more than I could have gotten because I'm a better person for the hard times I went through.
In some ways, it seems like revenge on God.
That is what I say sometimes. I like to almost I prefer to say it like revenge on demons, just so I don't end up slandering God if it is, just end up in hell. But yeah, kind of like that.
What's super powerful in retrospect, you ask yourself the question, what am I genuinely capable of doing today? And what's tough about that is that even when you do that thing that day or all of those things that day, you'll end the day thinking like nothing got done.
Yeah.
When you're really down bad, you'll end up thinking nothing got done. Like I didn't have the health problems you had. It's only in retrospect when I hear your story that I realize truly how easy I had it, even in my hard times. But like being broke is such it makes me emotional just thinking about it when you're actually like, that is a really psychological, that's a terrible thing.
Yes.
It's all you can think about when you've got nothing going on. I mean, I don't know. I could never be happy with myself if I felt like I didn't achieve anything, or even if I was batting so low. And it's like, how do you get the ball rolling? I was like, what can I do today? I was in a very similar position where I said, well, I think I can. I had read the book Spark, which is about how exercise can make you smarter. It activates all of these things in your brain, neurotransmitters get released that make it easier to think better. I was like, I know I can start the day off with a little bit of a jog, a little bit of a run. I'm just like this guy who's got nothing going on. So it's LA, it's always warm. I'll just start every day off with a 20-minute jog. It was like the first thing I could think of to change my scenario.
Yeah.
Then I was trying all these things at the time because I wanted a job that would give me enough freedom to pursue my actual creative endeavors. So I was like, I'm going to start a blog. So I would like write every day to this blog that would get no traffic. It's the only thing I could think of at the time. So I like went for a jog. I would write this blog. Nothing's happening. Then I would search for roles I could audition for. And I would always try to send in one audition a day. Nothing's happening. But I'm like, it is what I can do today. I joined this 24-hour film club where just basically a bunch of unemployed actors get together to shoot their own tiny little, like shitty little movies.
Yeah.
3-minute movies. Like I was always like the detective noir guy. Like that's what they saw me as. But we even tried shooting an action movie once. That was really sketchy. We had like these fake guns in North Hollywood, which is not a good part of town, and there were probably like some genuine gangs around, and we'd be like on the street like shooting with these fake guns and like try to make a movie.
Man,
it was really stupid. In retrospect, I should not have been doing that.
Yeah,
like
that sounds like, especially in LA, something you just straight up get arrested for if you don't have permits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're running and gunning it in like the most true sense of the word.
Yes,
and it was like that for a while. Just like doing those things. I would do affirmations every morning. I would look at pictures of men I realistically wanted to be like. I'm like, if I'm a better looking guy or a fitter guy, maybe that'll get me more jobs. So I'd look at pictures of Charlie Hunnam because he was like he's my male ideal.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. And I would try to visualize me being like the Indian peak version of myself, like just the most aesthetic version of myself. And I would go to the gym every day as well, but I didn't know anything about training at the time. So I was like just telling myself, I'm going to do all that I can. I would meditate for like 45 minutes a day. When you're unemployed, you got a lot of free time.
Yes. I meditated a lot. I meditated a lot back in those days as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe that'll give me a new hunch. It'll give me a new idea because I need some ideas to change these things. And turns out it actually did work. The thing is you gain such little ground on any given day that is very demoralizing.
It's hard to notice any of it.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you're working out, you're like changing your body so slowly, and you scrutinize your body every day, and you're like, am I making any gains? I can't see.
Yeah.
But then if you compare you to the you 6 months ago, that's the way you kind of are able to internalize that something is getting better.
Yeah. Like now you're incredibly fit. You're very strong as well. Like your bench and overhead press are so far ahead of me.
My bench is better than it was prior to when I was sick. You know, it's like everything I have improved to a level, it's better now. Everything is better now across the board.
But in some sense, that 15-minute walk on the first day, that's what got you here.
Yeah.
And that's a very strange feeling to realize in retrospect, is like the fact that you started walking got you this fit. It makes me emotional just thinking about it.
Same here.
So let's fucking move on.
Let's stop doing this.
You know what's dumb? Feelings.
Yes. Screw those. The Damaged Men podcast.
Welcome back to the Damaged Men.
Yes.
Speaking of being damaged, the last time, because in terms of like my lifestyle, it's been a few years since I've been in that position. I haven't felt broke in a long time.
Yeah.
I haven't felt like I don't have anything going on in a long time, you know? As soon as I got my first remote $20 an hour job, that's when I felt like, okay, I felt back in control. Or even the 4 months leading up to that, when I was studying digital marketing and studying for certifications, even though I was living at home with my parents, I still felt back in control. But the last time I felt that was getting rejected, basically. And it was a wonderful thing, because it helped me remember that life philosophy once again. So we're titling this How to Take Revenge on Someone Who's Rejected You. But really it's about remembering who you're supposed to be. And I really like this idea of using things to not get comfortable, because I was in a position where I could have let myself get comfortable. I did for a little bit, but I could have let my life play out the way it was, you know?
Totally.
Because honestly, I'm doing better than anyone I know in my immediate circle. I chatted with Matt Diavella yesterday. Mm-hmm. He's just been super sweet to me lately and just commenting on my videos. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, do you want to have a quick catch up? He told me not to give specific numbers, but basically Matt Diavella has a team of people who work for him now. And he told me how much goes out every month in payroll. And I was like, I kind of want that problem. Like, I want this much money going out because this is the amount of salaries I have to pay. Like, he's on such a different plane of existence than me. So a lot of these guys are. And but I wasn't super in my bones motivated to get to their place. I was like, of course it'd be great to have a 7-figure business, an 8-figure business. I look at someone like Nick Bear. Have you seen his channel at all?
I have not.
Okay, he's a hybrid athlete, so he super strong, but also just casually runs marathons. He's an 8-figure business with his supplement company and a few other things. They have like online coaching, I believe. I was like, I look at someone like Nick Bear, who's like maybe 32, and I'm like, that would be incredible. You know, I'm like really far behind that, but you have to be obsessed to a level that's really, it's hard to get that obsessed.
It is.
And this was an event in my life that really reinvigorated that for me. And it made me think, like, where should men start? Just like for you, the start was the 15-minute walk. For me, the start was honestly like a little bit of a jog in the morning. Where do we start to begin that next journey forward? It's not about the girl. It's not about getting revenge.
No.
You know? But what it is about is like,
that causes an emotional spark.
Yeah, it's
right?
about using that spark to become who you're supposed to be.
To ignite that fire within you. And then where do you start? I think for both of us, it was like, all right, what's the most obvious thing? This is something you go back to quite often. It's like, what's the lowest hanging fruit?
I think not enough people value the low hanging fruit. You know, because people think it's like their passion and their goal or bust.
Yeah.
So we had scripted this video together, but I put up a video on my channel about how to practically improve 1% a day. And I said that if you do this, eventually you'll be able to 10x your salary. And I got so many comments on that video. We're like, 0 times 10 is still 0. Haha. I'm like, really? Do you make no money?
You could change that today.
Grab the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Honestly, go get a minimum salary job.
Straight up.
Or just, maybe you're not making money, but you better be learning a high income skill right this second. Like, what is your excuse for not making money?
Yeah. What are you doing? Unless you're a full-time student or something that will make you money later, I don't understand. If you're like living at home and doing nothing to further any opportunity to make, how do you expect to live?
I mean, this might sound a little cringe, but money is energy.
Straight up. Yeah. And
even if I was a full-time student now, I would probably get myself a job or an internship. I would do something to have money come towards me. $500 a week, honestly, you know.
It doesn't have to be much. It's just like you need to start that because you need to internalize how important money truly is. It's the fuel that allows everything else to move. Without money, nothing happens. You can't do anything. You have to pay your bills. You have to eat first. So the low-hanging fruit, it's like you can have your big dreams. I mean, neither of us really let go of ours, but it's like those are the high fruit, right? But we're not getting those today, and we have to eat still. So like we got to get what's available to us, you know?
There was this amazing hour-long seminar of RSD Tyler, which he has since taken down. Owen Cook is his real name. I actually met the guy. There's honestly nothing to like about the guy.
Yeah, I mean,
his house is like full of termites.
Oh,
he's really
living wrong.
Yeah, he is. I would say he is. Even though he's like very charismatic in a lot of ways.
Charismatic, cool guy. I really like some of his talks.
I love some of his videos have really meant a lot to me. I really attest to that.
I'll stand by that as well.
Yeah, but one of the videos that he had said is like, a lot of guys in LA who are his friends are depressed because they never made it as actors. Because, you know, Hollywood, he actually like has a huge house in the Hollywood Hills. But he has this videos like these guys, they could be making they could get $100,000 a year job because they have the appropriate things in place where they could do that. But they don't want to do that because they want to be like rock stars and movie stars. And he's like, go after the low hanging fruit. Like, do you know how good your life will be once you start making 6 figures? Like, be grateful. You don't need to be a billionaire. Take the 6 figures.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody wants this, like, super insane life for themselves. And it's like, man, you could have a great life if you just let yourself, you know?
Or even if the guy who's unemployed and broke, some of these guys don't want the 40 grand a year job. I'm like, just start there. You don't have to stay there. You know how infinitely different life looks at $40,000 a year as opposed to no money.
Insanely different.
Yeah. You know, getting a paycheck that says like a couple $100s on it, that's power. And then you don't even have to buy anything with it, but you can look around and be like, that's $20. That would take an hour of my life. And I also don't need that. Now I got the $20. Your money becomes soldiers that start working for you. You know, even if you can't do anything to invest with it, I kind of like don't really care about investing because I'd rather invest in my business.
That's what I'm saying. You can invest right back in yourself.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get at. When I say take revenge on someone who's rejected you, or honestly taking revenge on the demons or on God,
take revenge on life, man.
That's what we're saying here. Mm-hmm. We're just putting women on the title, honestly, to win the clicks.
Get the clicks. Yeah. And because we hate women.
Welcome back to the Red Pill Podcast.
Red Pill Podcast. I only hang out with men.
It's not gay.
It's just all the women I've ever met have hurt me to the point of tears. So I refuse to be around them anymore.
So now I just have sex with dudes.
Oh, yeah.
No more hurt.
I don't even like it, but it's like I have to get it out.
Oh, man.
Moving on.
That's what it's about. I want to take the low-hanging fruit, because once you grab one low-hanging fruit, the next fruit up that would be too high to reach initially becomes your new low-hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. Like, we are very casually a six-figure business. No, sorry. Yeah, we're a six-figure business.
Yeah.
There's 7 figures in a million. Yeah.
Got him.
And that's honestly the next low-hanging fruit. It's not quite as low as it used to be, but the next low-hanging fruit is $1 million a year.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to achieve this year. And I'm doing that to take revenge on the women who have rejected me.
As you should.
I'm just petty.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it starts with priming your brain, because in the early days, maybe you can't get super fit. So like, what do you start with? First, I want to prime my brain. That 15-minute walk was giving you an opportunity to believe in yourself and respect yourself just a little bit. And for me, getting that low salary, $20 an hour digital marketing job, and what I really wanted to be was an A-list celebrity at the time. That was my first low-hanging fruit. So start with the low-hanging fruit. For me, I think as first, enough exercise to prime your brain. We're not even talking about like weight training and all that yet. And then secondly, get a job.
Yeah. When my health was screwed up, that was when I started driving for Lyft and started delivering auto parts, because I just wanted a certain amount of money coming in. Even if my health was screwed up, I could have used that excuse to sort of filch off of my parents and just say, oh, I'm sick, I can't work right now. But I was like, no, you got to keep getting that money. What are you, crazy? Mm-hmm. You know, because even when I was down that bad, I knew that getting a little bit of money each day, being able to pay my own rent, that like gave me a level of pride in myself. That was like, I did this. I'm supporting me, you know? And like you, like continuing to pursue your dreams of acting, it's like every single night I'd work on videos. I kept making YouTube videos all through that. You'll never see any point where I stopped, because it was all the time. That was when whatever free time I had that was not dedicated to my health or driving, like for a job, I was putting into videos, you know? And so it was like, I always kept that eye on my high-hanging fruit. And that's how I got here. You know, that's how I became a person whose work gets all my money from YouTube-related activities, which is something I wrote down when I was 13 years old. So like, I never lost sight. I took a detour because I had to, but yeah, I made sure to get the low-hanging fruit, driving, doing whatever I could, get that little amount of money each day, get that little amount of exercise, do all that can be done each day, you know?
One of the coolest things that I did for myself when it comes to this philosophy of grabbing the next low-hanging fruit is when I was a teacher, I was making $2,400 a month after taxes. And I was like, can I get this to $3,400 a month? An extra $1,000 a month, which is an extra $1,000 a month.
At that level is mind-boggling.
That's mind-boggling, right? It's like almost...
That's over like a 30% increase.
Yeah.
Yeah. If our math is wrong, I'm sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. This is not the becoming
This
the
is not Lex Friedman's podcast. We made a mistake.
So what I did was I started tutoring for the SAT on the weekends. I would go to like big group. Honestly, these companies were probably making thousands and thousands off of my tutoring, because I did it through a company, and I would make a couple hundred for $400. A couple $100 for 4 hours or 6 hours of teaching, but it would be a really stressful 4 hours, because I'd be waking up on a Saturday morning to go drive. LA, the thing about LA is it's so dispersed, so it takes forever to get anywhere. I'd be lugging around these enormous like
Textbooks?
SAT prep textbooks.
Yeah.
Handing them out. I remember one time I went to this all girls school. I was super stressed out. It was one of my first ones. And I was like 23.
You know we hate women, so.
Yeah, I was 23. All these high school, like, little student girls were just, like, mesmerized with me. And they're like, because it was an all-girls school. So if they see any man at all who's, like, relatively young, they're going to think
Fresh
he's,
meat.
like, yeah. All that, like, teenage hormone energy was on me. I was actually very uncomfortable.
Good. Yes.
But I had to, like, teach these women. I hated it.
Yeah.
And I had to, like, teach them about the SAT. And I remember getting, like, an extra $240 that day. And I was like, look at this. It was hard work, but it was just that next thing. I was just trying to inch my way up. And I have a OneNote commonplace book where I keep track of everything, my philosophy, my vision, a mood board for what I want my future house to look like, all these things. And one of them is a victory log. And I have a victory log of me saying I make $3,400 a month. And it was like the image I use is like some Hispanic guy like teaching a school full of students. And luckily with Microsoft OneNote, it saves the date on things when you create a tab. So I was like, look at that. That was 2017.
Yeah.
It's not that even that many years later.
I love
5
that
years
feeling.
later. Yeah. I'm like, oh, 3,400.
I keep my shit analog so I could look in old journals and be like, where was I at? And right before I met you, I was sending emails to people with like a reel that I had created. I sent it to you eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to my friend Armand at the time, and I didn't really believe in myself. I was like, if I can make any money freelance editing, that would be cool. But he really drilled me into being like, if you could make X amount each month, like what would make everything okay for you? And at that time, the number I came up with was $4,500. And I was like, if I can make $4,500 a month off of editing, like that would blow my mind. Like everything, all my problems would be solved. And that was right before I met you. I met you in May of 2020.
Yep.
So I would say April of 2020 is when I set that. And I believe October of 2021 was when I crossed that. And then it immediately kind of like doubled in no time. And I was like, oh, I still have problems, but that was cool. That was like a moment for me where I was like, you just look every day, like every day we work every day. Never stops. Just keep going for it. That low hanging fruit, whatever. You make $20 an hour now. Get that paper.
Not everyone has it like you do. I tried hiring last November. I tried hiring 2 new guys to help out with the channel and help us make better videos. Mm-hmm. I started one of them off. I didn't tell you this because, I don't know, I felt kind of bad.
Jealous.
Yeah, I started one of them off at $30 an hour. And I started one of them off because he just asked for it at $40 an hour. Just because it was like only 4 hours a week, whereas you were like super full time.
Many hours a week. Yeah.
And one of the guys, I was like, do you realize how generous I'm being right now? Because you're probably worth like 10 an hour to me. And I'm just like investing in you. I'm giving you a chance. Yeah, there was such a disrespect there. He overbilled me by like, I want to say 20 hours one week. Because it's all honor system, good faith.
Good faith.
Good faith.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, no. It's all good faith. Like, you know, we shake on it. We're just being
gentlemen.
Yeah, gentlemen. There's no contract here. Just like, you tell me how many hours you worked and I will pay you. And I pay the instant I see it.
Yep. It's been that way since the beginning.
And I was like, what? You worked 30 hours this week? Because the work was garbage. Like, what have you done this week?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, he immediately dropped it down by like so many hours. And then he was like, oh, it was just a mistake. It was just a mistake. I'm like, don't disrespect the money, man.
Yeah.
Like this was a low hanging fruit. Like maybe it wasn't where you want to be a year from now, but you had an opportunity and you fucked it up, bro.
You rushed it.
Yeah.
When we first started, I think I probably got 8 to 10 hours a week from you.
Yeah, dude, I didn't believe in you, at first. I was like, I was just messing around. I was like, I could use a couple more hours of B-roll. Your first shots were all wonky. They're all tilted over. And I was like, it was like once or twice a week we would meet up for 3 hours just to shoot B-roll. And then I would edit the videos myself still. I just took a chance on you. I was like, whatever. I got one sponsor one month. It was $2,000. I was like, how about I just give this guy all $2,000? Like, what am I going to do with $2,000, honestly, at this point? Like, not that I was making a ton of money, but I was like, I'd rather grow my channel.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's create. I didn't even have the work for you. I literally told you, like, maybe I'll just have you learn some skill and then I'll pay you for that. Mm-hmm. It's just what it is. But one thing leads to another.
But yeah, I kept showing up, and I think I never tried to rush the process and be like, I'm worth more to you than XYZ. It was like, all right, this is what you're willing to pay me now.
Yeah.
This is what you want from me now. It's like, I'm going to do my best to even like overwork and over deliver, so you like have no chance but to keep me, no choice but to keep me.
Yep.
And I kept doing that. That is a philosophy I keep whenever I like try to get new gigs. My default state of being is to like almost underbill, to be like, I got this done fast as fuck. You should keep me because I'm valuable, right? I'm trying to prove my value in the beginning. I'm trying to prove why you should keep me because you didn't believe it at first. I had to make you believe in me.
I was talking to my girlfriend and was like, this guy, his shots are garbage. It was such a waste of time. And then she was like, oh, you don't have to hit him up again. And then I was like, maybe I'll try him once more. And because I know everything stings with you. Now I know it. The next time the shots were so much better, and I was very surprised. I was like, damn, these shots are actually pretty good.
For reference, guys, he sent me a message that said 90% of these shots are unusable, and that hurts.
The fact that he even remembers, like, almost word for word what I said.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember what I said. I remember being very surprised, because I expected a little bit of an improvement. But I think sometimes you have been the predator in the room, just being like, no. Like,
I mean, everything you said, it's like I remembered and I took that into account and I fixed it. I just remember these things and I have such a sick desire to improve that.
Dude, sometimes I've had the same conversation with women where they're like, you know, we're not on the same page. And then sometime later, they're like, I'm just blown away by how fast you improve. Like, I said something once and you literally conquered that thing the next time. It's like, maybe I'm not the ideal guy, but whoever the ideal guy is, like, I will just scrutinize him and then I'll figure out.
I can beat him, is the point.
I'm like, yeah. So I watched Batman last night, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but what's really unique about this take on Batman is that he's actually not... This is his second year of being Batman, and he's still very much a rookie. So he makes mistakes all the time. Like, he might be doing something that we're very used to seeing Batman do, like, incredibly, and then he'll like run into a wall or something, and he'll be like walking off on his limped foot or something. And he still comes out on top, and it's just because the guy wants it more than anyone in the room. And that is what gets me. That's what I find. That's why I love Batman, actually, because in the early days, it's all about just wanting it more than the other guy. That's why I think it's so valuable to go after the low-hanging fruit, but only so that you have access to the next one up right away. So like, it's actually faster to go after the easy stuff.
Well, people want to jump for the super high ones, you know, like the experience you had hiring new people. It's like they want to immediately be at a level that they can't hold. So you jump once, but you fall off your ladder, you know? Like, you have to build the foundation beneath you so that you can keep climbing the tree.
This thought occurred to me now that we've started this up, and I love doing this. I want Jordan Peterson on the podcast, and I want David Goggins on the podcast.
Both of those would be sick.
And we were having this conversation because we were doing some research. I was like, well, I do have 500,000 subscribers. Could I get Jordan Peterson right now? And you were basically like, you're nowhere close to Jordan Peterson.
Yeah,
like,
I did say that. I feel like he's just
he's such a mythic
figure.
He's he's just too big. Mm-hmm. And this podcast is too new.
Yes, that was my main thing. Yeah, because smaller podcasts have gotten him. So, or smaller channels rather, sorry.
But then I was like, okay, what's the low-hanging fruit right now? I was like, we're just gonna have 50 banger episodes. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm not even gonna try to go after Jordan Peterson. I'm just gonna have 50 awesome episodes, and we're gonna get lots of downloads on this. As of now, I think we have 50 downloads.
Oh, have you been checking?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, guys. We are now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And everywhere you can listen to podcasts, we will be on there. We're on Stitcher, too.
Yeah. Help us out. Download the podcast. Make it a thing so that we can get Jordan Peterson on there.
Episodes come out every Sunday.
You know, Jordan Peterson tweeted my Watches Jordan Peterson Once video.
Oh, did he really? Is this recent?
Like 2 days ago.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
He just said funny. And
That's
he
awesome.
linked my video.
Hell yeah. And Goggins has done it too. So they've both seen your face.
They've seen my face at least once.
Yeah.
And now I want to talk to them.
I feel like it's possible.
It's
definitely
possible.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it by grabbing the low-hanging fruit over and over again, and just making killer episodes. Mm-hmm. How else do you progress? What does the timeline look like for you in making those gains? We talked about the early days where you go for that. It starts with that 15-minute walk if you're trying to get fit, or that light jog. For the jog for me is more like business goals. Like I jog to become better at my business.
Yeah.
What does the progression look like? So it's money, physique. We're still in the context of taking revenge.
Yes.
Money, physique. What else is there now? We're trying to build these things up.
I guess like once you have money and physique,
Yeah.
I think it's like with the podcast, it's like building your brand. It's like creating an image for yourself where I am this guy, I can have everything, So like we could get to a point where we don't even have to ask Jordan Peterson or David Goggins. It's like they know the podcast, It's like we need to become so good at our craft that no one can ignore us. So it's like we've built the financial security, we've built the physical health to be able to pursue our dreams now. The high-hanging fruit is now what we can pursue. Mm-hmm. Like a 7-figure YouTube channel, that sounds like pretty high-hanging fruit to me. Like how shocked would a 24-year-old be at that sort of idea? Like, I'm going to be a YouTube star. I'm going to be a full-time YouTuber. That's high-hanging fruit. And it's like we've built the structures to be able to chase that. So it's like, now let's do that. And because, humans can never be satisfied, or crazy ones like us can't, that does become the low-hanging fruit, and we have to find like new goals. So, but I think what we have to do daily is like keep those things in check, keep the money and physique in check. But I think it's like we get to pursue the things we want to now because we worked for it.
Yeah, basically I think what you're describing in like the red pill community would be known as like status. Because not everyone cares about building up their brand, but status now is equivalent to, your brand. That's the modern status. Because like, where does status come from now? It like, people almost don't care as much about celebrities as they would have 20 years ago. Because there's so many micro celebrities. But a company, that feels to me like a status move more than anything. Yeah, I guess the progression does continue. So what started off with a 15-minute walk has turned into progressive overload every week on the major compound lifts and accessory work to get a pump in, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that's my big thing now is like with the physique, it's like the next low hanging fruit for me. 405 deadlift is right around the corner. And then honestly, I want to hit 5 plates on the deadlift, like 495. That's like my next low hanging fruit with the physique. With the money or the business, I guess we're onto the channel now. So we're going for 7 figures. But if I were to give myself advice, I would say start with a low income job, then slightly higher, and then turn into a high salaried employee. And then once you get a little bit of money going, then you start building your own brand because it happens faster. Yeah, you'll never make as much money as you would if you're an entrepreneur, but sometimes you got to work your way up to that.
Yes,
for a lot of people.
You need the capital to be able to invest.
Yeah,
And
then after that, I'm curious. I think it might be something more like there is value to being just an interesting person, and that's something I also this year want to invest more into. Is like I want to become more interesting. I bought all these books. I do want to read more, just to have better language and better connections between ideas.
Yeah, I think one of the most valuable things that I did while I was sort of down bad was read a lot because I really had nothing else to do for leisure. I had sort of quit watching television because I thought it would be optimal for my like falling asleep, which was very important to me. So I started to read a lot before bed.
Yeah.
And, some of those books are like the things that got me through those times. And I obviously have kept up reading as one of my favorite hobbies. And I think it's very valuable. I think it does make you more interesting. Like, I just have more language at my disposal, so I feel like I'm more able to put what I'm thinking into more specific terms.
Yeah, you're more precise.
It makes life make more sense to you.
Yeah. And honestly, some women, there's been more engagement overall in terms of the emails I've been getting or DMs in relation to the podcast. And some women, because we have gaps, we're limited in our worldview. Women have said, we don't care about money and physique as much as you think. But one thing that they find deeply lacking in men today, this is what they've told me, is emotional intelligence. And you know, in the red pill community, there is this whole trope of don't listen to what women say.
Yeah, they don't know what they want.
They don't know what they want. Only pay attention to what they do. I actually I think there is some truth to that, but I still want to listen to what women say because I don't want to be in an echo chamber where it's just you and me.
Yeah.
Or the red pill community. You fall into groupthink if you don't listen to everyone's perspective.
Yes, I agree.
So when I hear that men today are lacking emotional intelligence to kind of intellectually stimulate women, I think there is some truth to that. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
I think there's a lot of truth to that too. I mean, I feel like you don't even need like a microscope to look at the red pill community and see a lot of emotional morons.
And so developing yourself emotionally is also very valuable. It's something I'm trying to work on because I don't feel like my emotional intelligence is incredible, that high. Like I'm getting better all the time, but like it's a harder thing to develop because I value the concrete things so much, like money, like the physique, like my status and fame and all that I sometimes neglect when I hear about emotional things. Like I tried therapy for 4 months.
Yeah.
And I hated every minute of it. So like I'm still figuring out how to get better at that, but that is also something worth developing. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and I think for me, the sort of like, I sort of misunderstood your question, but like the next evolution of low-hanging fruit for me is like I've run 2 half marathons. Yeah. My foot is sort of cracked up right now. Yeah. But I want a full marathon in the belt. In fact, I want a couple. I want 275 on the bench, but really I want 315. And I want to get my leg strength up as well. I don't know where my lifts are at right now because I can't do them.
You got like a month left on this foot?
Got a month left on the foot. Yeah. So, but other than that, you know, just like keep making more money for me, keep making these channels bigger, you know, just continue with that. But I feel like having your base goals be physical related, I feel like it's the most like tangible proof of expansion, you know, like your lifts go up, you do a marathon, you do something physical. It's like, it's so real. It's so provable that it gives you just such a surge of confidence. And whether you know it or not, it will leak into the rest of your life. And you're like, damn, if I last year was only able to run a half marathon and this year I ran a marathon, I doubled the length I was able to run. Like, of course I can apply that same like overcoming of resistance to my business life, to my emotional life. You know, it's all just overcoming resistance, isn't it? So that's why I kind of almost like you with like jogging first thing in the day. It's like that physical first. If you can get that right, that's just proof.
So that's it for this episode. We'll catch you in the next one. Greatness is coming as always. Cheers.